Howdy, true patriots. Tonight we saw Donald Trump conservative neo-Nazi propaganda film Civil War by Alex Garland, who made Men, the feminist movie. Connor, what do you think of Civil War?
Yeah, okay, so in this...
Or what's the plot of Civil War, sorry.
In this liberal fluff piece, Mary Jane from Spider-Man meets like a 25-year-old girl who looks like she's a 5, and then she hangs out with this dude, this old dude, and this other dude, and they travel through war-torn America because 3 factions have seceded from this fine nation, and they must watch people shoot at each other and take pictures of them. And at first, everybody goes through their own quick little character arc. What do you want me to say? It's a Nightcrawler, A24,
Call of Duty Nightcrawler,
blockbuster action movie, pretentious action movie for that's very offensive to whatever your opposing political party is.
Yeah.
A slightly left-leaning centrist film about
that has a bunch of half-star reviews on Letterboxd saying that it's neo-Nazi propaganda.
Yep. Is it neo-Nazi propaganda? Is it the liberal agenda? You decide. Anyways, Aiden, what were your thoughts on neo-Nazis are Kirsten Dunst and her husband Fat Damon are neo-Nazis the movie?
I'm split on it. I think there's a lot of stuff that's really good. This is an incredibly shot movie. Very well directed, very tense action scenes, especially the one that features Fat Damon. Like, everything on the technical end of this movie is fucking incredible. It looks fantastic, it sounds fantastic especially. I like the musical choices and the soundtrack, and especially like the sound effects and stuff. The guns are really, really weighty. At the same time, it's got a lot of corny elements, and it doesn't have a real good human element. Like, it's a very mechanical feeling movie where I really didn't give a shit about the characters, and I guess, like, to some extent the characters are also really detached, and maybe you're not supposed to feel that much for them, but there's a lot of cheese to it, where the journalist characters are all like these beacons of pure neutrality who are just reporting everything, and they stay out of the conflict, and they really don't have a lot of personality to them. They're just kind of there, and there's a lot of corny elements of the movie. There's some foreshadowing that is incredibly flagrant. The scene with Fat Damon, which is one of the best scenes in the movie, features 2 characters literally driving up behind our protagonists and then immediately getting killed by Fat Damon because there wasn't enough characters in the movie for them to kill people.
Who were our good friends, the people who we were with for 30 seconds at the start of the movie. It's like, okay, these guys are fucking creamed.
Yeah,
what do you want?
They get the second those Asian guys show up, you're like, okay, well, these guys are getting fucking blasted because they didn't have enough characters to kill off. There's a little bit of corn with the president, who's played by Nick Offerman and has a spray tan, and he talks kind of like Donald Trump in the 5 seconds he's in, even though he's like a featured extra at best.
Yeah.
But the movie's not very political, and like the conflict is intentionally unrealistic, where California and Texas team up to secede from the United States for reasons that are never really explained or touched on, to keep the movie as apolitical as possible. And all the technical aspects really work. The action scenes are thrilling. It's beautiful, but I don't know. I just struggled to connect with it, and I thought a lot of the stuff was kind of cheese. A lot of the stuff was kind of cheese. Like when Kirsten Dunst and the little girl are sitting on a bench, and she's like, "You took a picture of the Antifa massacre." There's a lot of cheese in there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad. I'm really mixed on it because I want to love it for all the technical aspects. And I think I kind of felt this way about Annihilation, which is another Alex Garland film where, like, it's very gorgeous and interesting looking, but the actual stuff that goes on in it is not that interesting. Although I would have cringed a lot more if this was political propaganda in either direction.
I was kind of
beyond having Orange Man bad very briefly. Yeah, I don't know. I'm divided on it. I want to like it more than I do. It lands in the middle for me, where it's an interesting looking movie, and I didn't hate sitting through it, but I never really connected with it, I don't think. Yeah, it's a bit all over the place, and simultaneously there's not enough going on, and I didn't care about the characters, especially the side ones that show up just to get blasted. And I don't know. I'm mixed. Connor, what'd you think of Civil War?
I really liked it. I thought it was really good. The movie has amazing sound design for one.
Yeah.
At one point I blinked and the gunshots were so loud and hard hitting the entire time. Eventually you kind of got used to it, but it was definitely trying to immerse you in the movie. The movie isn't particularly gory. There were points where there's a mass grave at one point with Fat Damon.
Yeah, it sounds a little corny too when she falls in the mass grave.
Yeah, I mean, it's a movie, though.
A little corny.
I mean, you're gonna have the mass grave, and it's about the desensitization of the woman. That's the whole arc of the movie, so it might be on the nose. There's a lot of on-the-nose shit. Aiden's right about that. A lot of predictable aspects of the movie. The movie is significantly predictable throughout.
Would you like the movie, man?
From the start, you can basically tell. I don't want to spoil too much, but you can basically tell exactly what's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
To some extent. But I did like the fact that they tried to keep it apolitical as possible. It's a movie
for sure.
about the desensitization of war photographers and how they kind of are they complacent with the atrocities they're recording? Are they passive in the atrocities they're recording? Or are they actually doing a service to the people who are viewing this? This is illustrated by the fact that up until the final White House, or not White House, but Washington D.C. invasion, you never actually know who they're following, and everybody's kind of dressed different. U.S. soldiers at one point will dress like the California, Texas soldiers. We had one scene where we're just following a bunch of dudes in Hawaiian shirts who
are shooting at people in military uniforms.
Yeah, and there's a point where there's some snipers, and they're like, "What side are you on?" They're like, "Shut the fuck up, lady. We're trying not to get our fucking heads blown off."
Yeah. And
it's a lot of tense vignettes of war. I mean, it's very much here's 20 minutes examining what this war is like, or might be like. They hit a town that they're like, this is very realistic feeling, and then they look up and there's city people guarding it with sniper rifles, life.
Yeah.
The idea is that life would change for people, and then what are the journalists and archivists actually achieving in recording this? So, I mean, there's a lot of interesting questions. It very much has the Nightcrawler desensitization through violence. It's kind of like Alex Garland got enough clout at A24 for being kind of their longtime guy, because I think Ex Machina was a really early A24 film, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was like one of their, I don't know how long they've been around. I'm sure they've been around longer, but that was like one of their first breakout hits where A24 kind of became a thing. And so he's been around long enough that they're like, we want to produce a blockbuster, but in our quasi pretentious style, rather than low budget, neo horror, like they typically touch on. So they took their Willem Dafoe movie budget and gave it to Alex Garland, and said, "Alex Garland, do your thing." And then he said, "Female actress from that is 20 years out of their prime, check." This one doesn't really have as much of like a feminist aspect that you might expect from like Annihilation's. Like, what if really, like aliens were like a woman's period, bro? It doesn't really have that.
If Kirsten Dunst was a man, the movie wouldn't change in any way.
It's definitely a lot more approachable than something like Annihilation, despite the fact that I actually really enjoy Annihilation. Both movies have incredible sound mixing and are very immersive, so this is definitely something to see in like a Dolby, IMAX, Prime, whatever premium theater your theaters offer, or auditorium your theaters offer, because it's immersive, it sounds good, and it's tense. I really liked his build-up of tension in scenes where Myers really wants to guest star in this video. But, yeah, no, he does a great build-up of tension throughout the film. Like the Fat Damon part was just kind of like some rednecks kidnapped him. You kind of knew where that was going too.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the side character that pops up is a Chinese dude, and he's like, "Where are you from?" And it's like, okay, this dude's Asian, kind of looks Chinese, so he's probably gonna say like Hong Kong, and the guy will be like, "A China commie," and then kill him, which is exactly what happens.
But that is the best scene in the movie. It's very tense and striking.
And that's what I'm saying. It's a very visceral movie. So while it's predictable, has its flaws, I mean, it's shot well enough. It's not a new story, like I said. I mean, it's basically big budget war photographer Nightcrawler rather than mid-budget crime photographer. But the idea of basically, are the people recording these events sociopaths, passive participants, or are they actually documenting something? And also, what seeing these atrocities does to your mind. We have an old wise journalist, Kirsten Dunst, who's kind of hard as nails, been doing it for a long time, and is kind of at the end of her rope with it at points eventually by the end of the movie. And you got this young, naive, wannabe photojournalist who is getting more than she bargained for. And I think, no, there's not many surprises, but as a visceral, well-done experience and like a big-budget A24 movie, I was kind of hoping it'd be more political, because there's a part of me that, I really enjoyed this movie, but there's a part of me that really wishes we got what the trailers did, because the trailers really pushed Nick Offerman's 2-minute role to make him seem like an important character. And they're like shooting missiles at the White House and shit in the trailer, and like Kirsten Dunst is like front flipping over fucking explosions. You think this shit's gonna be like Independence Day by A24 and with a washed up 2000s actress? Thank you, Maya.
Maya's our cinematographer today.
She's like, I think you guys gotta change it up. But anyways, like, yeah, I actually quite enjoyed Civil War. So Aiden, would you recommend Civil War?
I'm gonna go with yes. Even though I'm mixed on it, I think if nothing else for the...
Oh, Maya! You're the cinematographer. She says Aiden's talking right now, so he has to be on camera.
That was good thinking, Maya. That was clever.
That was good thinking, Maya.
If nothing else, the movie really shines in theaters. The sound design is very incredible, as it was in Annihilation, and the shooting is impeccable. It's a
Oh wow, Maya, the microwave? She wanted the art shot. She's like Alex Garland. She's a neo-Nazi like Alex Garland.
it's a very pretty movie. The action is
Maya.
the action and
She's
tension.
excited.
The action and tension in the movie are really good.
Good movie.
I felt disconnect with it, and I thought it was cheesy often, but I can't say I disliked it. I did like it, and I think it's a very fun experience in the movies. Maybe not fun. It's not exactly fun, but it's an incredibly well-made experience that will be really good in theaters. I know some people are going to be pissed that this movie's not full Orange Man bad.
I like how
Some people will be pissed that this isn't neo-Nazi propaganda.
I like how the old people in red, white, and blue shirts and the cardigan liberals were all like just sat there in awe after the movie was over at what they watched.
Yeah.
I didn't really. We were in the back row, so we didn't really see any walkouts. But this seems like the type of movie like 60% of the audience would walk out on.
Yeah. Yeah. There are people who are going to be mad that this is not neo-Nazi propaganda. There are people who are mad that this movie is neo-Nazi propaganda. It's not really any of those things. It's good. It's good. I'm mixed on it, but I think there are a lot of people who are going to get a ton out of this. There are a lot of people who are going to get angry at this. It's interesting. It's unique. And I do recommend it for those things. Connor, would you recommend Civil War?
Yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was very good. But like I said, it might not be for everybody because it reminds me of Annihilation. You can probably look at that Drunkview from like 2018 or whatever. And I'm sure we told this story, but I remember specifically it was us and two people in like the middle back. They were on like a date. And the guy must not have been getting a blowjob or something because he yells really loudly, "Fuck this gay shit," and then walks out of the movie. Like an hour and a half in, when she starts like wandering around the swamp and there's like mirror spaceships and stuff and like really loud screeching noises and shit. I'm like, this is great. And then all of a sudden it goes silent for a second. You just hear this guy loudly announce, "Fuck this gay shit," and then walk out of the movie.
Yeah.
And
that did happen.
I wouldn't be surprised if there were a lot of
there's going to be a lot of people.
a lot of
walking out of this.
armchair genius reporter liberals and conservatives that end up yelling
Facebook.
"Fuck this gay shit" because they get offended by the fact that there's nothing to be offended by, really.
Facebook boomers and Redditors are going to despise this movie on opposite ends of the fucking spectrum.
Because we don't really know what Nick Offerman did. We don't know what anybody really did.
Yeah, we don't know why anyone. We don't
We
know
don't know
why
why
the secession
anybody's
happened.
fighting.
We don't know why California and Texas, of all states, teamed up.
Yeah.
They imply that Alaska has become like a neutral country of its own.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that is just left to the imagination
All
to
we
keep
know
this
is for
movie
one reason or
apolitical.
another, there's like 3 factions. Two of the factions seceded from the proper United States, and then Texas and California are kind of the leading ones with like rebels in this somewhere. And you don't really need to know anything else. There's bad
And there's
people.
just a bunch of random people who are just killing people to survive or because they want to. Or
Yeah, there's pretty much just bad people and worse people. And you're just on the journey observing these bad people and worse people.
Yeah.
With no context on who anybody is except the fact that they're fighting for their survival. And actually which side politically or whatever is virtually irrelevant. Not virtually, just totally irrelevant to the actual film.
Yeah.
And it makes for a very interesting movie. And I liked it. A24's big second attempt at a blockbuster after The Northman. Actually, The Northman was just an A24 ripoff. They scalped that guy, so it's their first attempt at a big blockbuster.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Transition. What did you think of Civil War? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think Alex Garland was a neo-Nazi?
Do you want to fuck my wife while I jack off in the corner?
Excellent.
Do you want to fuck my ex-wife while I take care of my wife's son in the corner? Transition. My wife told me to get a paternity test because the truth needs to come out, but I refuse to believe her. But I don't think that's necessary because I know that it's my kid. I still like how the Yay dollar sign
The review where he just farts for 40 minutes.
no, I was gonna say not even talking about talking about Anthony Fantano, but their artist page on Apple Music still has a paragraph scathing Anthony Fantano's entire career and
So
call him
gross.
Anthony Midtano in the thing. Which I thought was a troll at first, but nobody's ever corrected it after like 2 months, so I don't think somebody like hacked the artist page or somehow uploaded that to Apple Music and they stuck with it. And if that's the case, then Kanye and Ty Dolla $ign are either A, fine with it, B, too lazy to fix it. Yeah, those are kind of your two options, and
Those
either
are both
way, I think it's
plausible
amazing.
options.
Either way, I think it's amazing. Yeah, man did cinematography work. She should get an IMDb page.
Alex Garland hired this cat.